Hello everybody, my name is Jean-Christophe Elary, and today I'm going to talk about Emacs manuals translation and Omega T. Thank you for joining the session. Translation in the free software world is really a big thing. You already know that most of the Linux distributions, most of the software packages, most of the websites are translated by dozens of communities using different processes and file formats. Translation and localizations are things we know very well. It's a tad different for the Emacs community. We do not have a localization process because it's quite complex and because we don't have the resources yet. Still, we could translate the manuals, and translating the manuals would probably bring a lot of good to the Emacs community at large. So what's the state of the manuals? As of today, we have 182 files coming in TXC and ORG format. We've got more than 2 million words, we've got more than 50 million characters, so that's quite a lot of work. And obviously, it's not a one-person job. When we open TXC files, what do we have? Well, we actually have a lot of things that the translators shouldn't have to translate. Here, we can see that only the very last segment, the very last sentence, should be translated. All those meta things should not be under the translator's eyes. How do we deal with this situation? For code files, we have the gettext utility that converts all the translatable strings into a translatable format, which is the PO format. And that PO format is ubiquitous even in the non-free software translation industry. For documentation, we have something different. It's called PO4A, which is short for PO for all. When we use PO4A on those 182 TXC and ORG files, what do we get? We get something that's much better. Now, we have 3 segments. It's not perfect because, as you can see, the 2 first segments should not be translated. So there is still room for improvement. Now, when we put that file set into Omega T, we considerably reduce the words total. We have now 50% less words and 23% less characters to type. But that's still a lot of work. So let's talk about Omega T now and see where it can help. Omega T is a GPL3+, Java 8+, computer-aided translation tool. We call them CATs. CATs are to translators what IDEs are to programmers. They leverage the power of computers to automate our work, which is reference searches, fuzzy matching, automatic insertions, and things like that. Omega T is not really recent. It will turn 20 next year. And at this point, we have about 1.5 million downloads from the SourceForge site, which doesn't mean much because that includes files used for localization and manuals. But still, it's a pretty big number. Omega T is included in a lot of Linux distributions, but as you can see here, it's mostly downloaded on Windows systems because translators mostly work on Windows. Omega T comes with a cool logo and a cool site too, and I really invite you to visit it. It's omegat.org, and you'll see all the information you need plus downloads to Linux versions with or without Java included. So what does Omega T bring to the game? Professional translators have to deliver fast, consistent, and quality translations. And we need to have proper tools to achieve that. I wish PO mode was part of the toolbox, but that's not the case, and it's a pity. So we have to use those CAT tools. Let me show you what Omega T looks like when I open this project that I created for this demonstration. The display is quite a mouthful, but you can actually modify all the windows as needed. I just want to show you everything at once to give you a quick idea of the thing. You have various colors, windows, and all those spaces have different functions that help the translator and that you're probably not familiar with. I'm going to introduce you to the interface now. So first we have the editor. The editor comes in 2 parts, the current segment, which is associated to a number, and all the other segments above or below. At the top of the window, you can see the 3 first segments that were in the PO file. The last one here, the 4th one, comes with an automatic fuzzy match insertion. Such legacy translations are what we call translation memories. Omega T has inserted this one automatically because I told it to do so, and for my security it comes with the predefined fuzzy prefix that I will have to remove to validate the translation. Our next feature is the glossary feature. In this project we have a lot of glossary data. Some is relevant and some is not. In the segment that I'm translating at the moment, you can see underlined items. This pop-up menu on the right allows me to enter the terms as I type. It's kind of an auto-insertion system that also supports history predictions, predefined strings, and things like that. In the part on the right, we have reference information that comes directly from the PO and the TXT files. We also have notes that I can share with fellow translators, and we have numbers that tell me that I still have 143 segments more to go before I complete this translation. As we see, there are plenty of strings that we really don't want to have to type. For example, those strings are typical TXT strings that the translator should really not have to type, so we're going to have to do something about that. We're going to have to create protected strings with regular expressions, so that the strings can be visualized right away in the source segment, entered semi-automatically in the target segment, and checked for integrity. The regular expression I came up with for defining most of the strings is this one, and I'm not a regular expression pro, so I'm sure some of you will correct me. But this expression gives me a good enough definition, even though it does not yet include org-mode syntax. So now we have all those TXT specific things that we don't want to touch displayed in gray. And actually you may have noticed that I cheated a bit because here I added the years and the Free Software Foundation name to the previous regular expression to show you that you can protect any kind of string really. So what we have now is a way to visualize the strings that we do not want to touch, but we still have to enter all them in the translation. For that we have the pop-up menu that I used earlier with the glossary, and we also have items in the edit menu that come with shortcuts for easy insertion of missing tags. Last, but certainly not least, we can now validate our input. And here Omega T properly tells me that I need 7 protected strings. I entered only 1998, but there were 5 different years, the copyright string and the FSF name string. With all this almost native text info support, we have much less things to type, and there is a much lower potential for errors. But we agree it's still a lot of work. What we would like now is to work with fellow translators, and here we need to know that Omega T is actually a hidden SVN Git client, and team projects can be hosted on SVN Git platforms. Translators don't need to know anything about VCS, they just need access credentials and Omega T commits for them. This way, we do not have to use ugly and clumsy web-based translation interfaces, and we can use a powerful offline professional tool. So this is how it looks when you look at the platform where I hosted this project. The last updates are from 20 days and 30 seconds ago when I created this slide. And you can see that I had a partner who worked with me on the same file set. Although it looks like we actually committed the translation to the platform, it was not us, but Omega T. Omega T does all the heavy-duty work. It regularly saves to and syncs from the servers. Translators are regularly kept updated with work from fellow translators, and when necessary, Omega T offers a simple conflict resolution dialog. Translators never have to do anything with SVN or Git, ever. And now we can envision a future not so far away where the manuals will be translated and eventually included in the distribution, but that's a topic for a different presentation. So we've reached the end of this session. Thank you very much again for joining it. And there are plenty of topics I promised I would not address, and I think I kept my promise. There will be a QA now, and I also started a thread about this talk on Reddit last Saturday, and you can find me on Emacs Help and Devel List as well, so don't hesitate to send me questions and remarks. Thank you again, and see you around.